everyone. If you're interested in participating in a Disney race here at Disneyland, California or Walt Disney World, Florida, then keep watching and let's go over how to best plan for that. So for this video, we're gonna go over the registration process, some helpful hints around that, because that can be pretty crazy, and also some travel arrangements. So let's go over the registration process. Generally, registration is open to the public about 6 months in advance. On a Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So the morning you want to register, you're going to want to log on to runDisney.com. And if you go to events, then you'll select the event that you're interested in racing. For the purpose of this demo, we'll just use the Run Disney Springtime Surprise Weekend. So you click on that race and then you scroll all the way down to the race you wish to register for. So again, for the sake of demonstration, let's click on the 10 miler. Now, when you first log in, you're going to have to enter your Disney account information. Hopefully you already have one set up. So when you go to the page featuring the events you want to participate in, you will actually be able to select the event that you're interested in 15 minutes ahead of time. Really is no advantage of coming in early. I've had luck both ways, coming in 5 minutes ahead of time or right on the dot of 7 a.m., 10 a.m. So either way, it's up to you. If you'd rather come in early, that's entirely up to you, or if you'd rather just wait until it officially starts. Once you click on this button and the actual registration time starts, whether it's 7 a.m. or 10 a.m., then you will see a screen that says that you have an approximate wait time of either more than an hour or 30 minutes. It really depends on where your place in line is. So you select the race you're interested in. I'm just going to select the 10 miler just for the demo. And I say I'm registering myself. So you will enter your name and all your private information, your address, your phone number, your emergency contact info, and then you do this acknowledge waiver that I'm registering for an in-person race. This is because there are virtual races, but that obviously is not the case. This is the part that can get really tricky. They start asking all these marketing questions, and it can get really frustrating when you are trying to be very fast and you need to register multiple people. Fill out as fast as you can. Again, you have a yes or no questions. Are you a cast member? Are you a Disney Vacation Club member? Are you a key holder? All of these things. So don't forget to fill out the shirt size information. People tend to forget this one. I'm guilty as well. When you're trying to fill out things as quickly as possible, you forget to fill that field out, and it is a requirement, so you do have to fill that out. So otherwise, your registration is going to glitch out. So be careful of that. So after you've filled everything out and answered all the marketing questions, then you can click on Next Step, or I want to add another registration. Okay, so here we have all the pre-sale commemorative items done, such as water bottles, backpacks, jackets. Depending on when you get into the registration, I recommend skipping this because it will eat up some time. You can buy it at the expo and you get a discount if you are a Magic Key holder or a Disney World Pass holder. Here that doesn't qualify for a discount. So after your registration is processed, then you'll be able to see the races you're participating in under your Run Disney account. So for example, here you can see that I have the Wine and Dine half marathon weekend and the Disneyland half under here. If you click on it, you'll see the further detail. For example, the Wine and Dine, I have a 5K, and then the Disneyland half, I have the 10K. You'll also have notifications at the top of the page. Basically, they are waivers you need to sign, indicating that you are, of course, fit to participate in these events and you won't sue Disney. And of course, there are products here that you can purchase for the races you'll be participating in. If you're participating in a half marathon or a marathon or the challenge, then you will need to submit a proof of time, and this is where you'll be submitting your proof of time. If you're not able to submit a proof of time, then no worries, that's fine. Proof of time is more for your corral placement, so if that's something that you're not particularly picky about, then no big deal. In-person races tend to sell out pretty quickly, so a good rule of thumb is if you have reached the registration page where you start to select your race and enter all of your information within 30 minutes, 7:30, 10:30, then you're making good time. You have more than enough time to register yourself and anyone else, friends, family, whoever else will be going with you. It gets a little dicey when you start to reach the 35, 45-minute mark. That's usually when the 5K and the 10Ks tend to sell out. Also, a good thing I should mention is that Princess is one of the most popular runs at Walt Disney World, so have a lot of patience when it comes to registering for that one. And if I do say so myself, it also tends to have the best merchandise, so that is one thing to consider if you want to do that type of race. Okay, so let's talk travel arrangements. I'm going to go into detail about Disneyland and Walt Disney World, but in general, for both, you want to book your hotel as early as possible, preferably before you actually register for the race, because come registration day, you'll find that hotels book up very quickly. And of course, when it comes to flights, you want to book your flight as early as possible. Usually the 2-month window is a good time to book your flight, regardless of which race you're doing. So let's go into more detail about traveling to Disneyland for your race. When it comes to airports, Los Angeles International, also known as LAX, is the biggest airport. It also has the most direct flights. It is also the most difficult to get in and out of. Anyone who lives in LA County will tell you that traffic getting in and out of LAX is horrendous, and try to avoid it if you can. However, totally understandable given the fact that it is the biggest airport, that you definitely have more flight options. If you must fly into LAX, try to land between 9 a.m. and noon. With that type of arrival, you'll usually get to the Disneyland Resort within 45 minutes instead of 2 hours due to rush hour. Other airports are John Wayne Orange County and Long Beach Airport. These are both smaller airports, and they're within about 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes away from the Disneyland Resort. If you're arriving late in the evening to either of these airports, I definitely recommend booking a rideshare in advance. Otherwise, you'll find yourself waiting at the curb a little longer than you like. So definitely book a rideshare in advance, and that way you can get to the Disneyland Resort as fast as possible. So for Disney World, the closest airport is Orlando International. That's pretty much the only airport really within reasonable distance. So let's talk hotels. If you're going to the Disneyland runs, you could stay on property if you like. There are 3 hotels that are part of the Disney Resort: Pixar Place Hotel, the Disneyland Hotel, and the Grand Californian. Those definitely are a little on the pricier side, so if you want to splurge, go for it. Otherwise, you can stay on several hotels along Harbor Boulevard. The Anaheim Hotel, Candy Canyon are pretty good ones. You can also stay at any hotel around the intersection of Catella and Harbor. Those are within reasonable walking distance. It's about 10-15 minute walk, depending on how fast you walk. So for Walt Disney World hotels, I definitely recommend that you stay on property. And the reason is because during race weekend, they actually provide transportation from your hotel to the starting line. And also not just the starting line, to the actual expo where you have to pick up your badge. So I'm gonna look at my notes, make sure I don't mess up the order. There are actually 3-tier levels when it comes to hotels at Disney World. They are Value Resort, Moderate Resort, and Deluxe Resort. So for Value Resort hotels, I pretty much stayed at all of these. The only exception is Disney's Art of Animation, but my sister has stayed at Disney's Art of Animation and she really enjoyed her stay there. The only thing about these hotels is that they tend to cater more toward families, so the pool grounds can be very large. Pool play areas can be pretty large. So if you are staying far away from the entrance of the hotel, you're gonna have to give yourself a little extra time to get ready and then actually cross the hotel grounds, because the bus that takes you to the starting line only picks you up at the front. So you just have to be careful of that. For the moderate resorts, again, these are all good: Coronado Springs, Caribbean Beach, Port Orleans, French Quarter. Oh, sorry, hold on. I messed that up. Port Orleans, Riverside, Port Orleans, French Quarter. These are all good. I've stayed at all of these as well. My personal favorite was actually Coronado Springs. Just the vibe was really unique and I really enjoyed the decor. And lastly, your deluxe resorts. Again, I'm just making sure I cover everything on my notes. Grand Floridian, Yacht Club, Contemporary, Animal Kingdom. Unfortunately, I have not had an opportunity to stay at any of those, but my sister has actually stayed at the Polynesian and she loves it. Some others I would recommend, they're actually not owned by Disney, but the Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin Resorts, those are nice. Those are owned by Sheraton, and you can't really go wrong with Sheraton Hotel. I would definitely try those out. Plus, they're walking distance from the Boardwalk and Yacht Club. The Dolphin, Swan, Boardwalk, and Yacht Club actually surround a little lake, and it's actually a nice scenic walk when you are not in horrible humidity. So even though the Swan and Dolphin are not technically owned by Disney, they pretty much function like they are Disney resorts. They have their own shuttles, and they can take you to anywhere within the resort if you need it. And on race weekend as well, they have buses that are available for you to take to the expo as well as the starting line. If you are running the marathon or half marathon and you are staying at a hotel that is on the monorail track, such as the Grand Floridian, the Contemporary, and the Polynesian, the monorail is running for those particular races, but only for those specific races. For the 5K and the 10K, they don't run. If you must stay off property, then I recommend that you stay in some hotels that are close to the Disney Springs area. Those are within reasonable driving distance to the starting line, so you may not have to worry about getting up so early to make it to the starting line if you have to drive in. I'm not saying you have to get up at 2, maybe 2:30 or 3. If you stay off property so you can make it to the starting line. Even when you're taking the buses, they recommend that you be on the bus no later than 4, just because there's so many people that are getting on the buses to make it to the race. So you have all these buses congregating to the same spot. So they always recommend try to be on the bus before 4, and then that way you can make it to the starting line. But that is something I will cover in a future video. So here are some important things to keep in mind. Number 1 is that unfortunately, if you need to cancel your plans, you're not able to get a refund on your registration. Number 2 is if your race sells out on the day of registration, you have a couple options. The first one would be to sign up for the Telegram app on your smartphone. Look for the runDisney alerts group, and if you sign up for that, you'll receive notifications anytime a race opens up. You will usually get notifications about a week after registration or a month leading up to the race. And your window of time to react is very small. So as soon as you see that alert, click on the link, and then you have about a minute or 2 to sign up. So you gotta be fast. Charities also have some bibs available. If you go on the runDisney website, click on their travel and charity partner link, you'll see a list of charities for each run. Feel free to contact them and see if they have any bibs available. So the third thing is to give yourself ample time to pick up your bib. The runDisney Health and Fitness Expo is the only place where you can pick up your bib. At Disneyland, it's at the Disneyland Hotel. At Disney World, it's the ESPN Wide World of Sports. If you're flying from one coast to another, or you're making a connecting flight that involves multiple stops, I highly recommend you try to land either 2 days before your race or basically the day before your race. So for example, if you're doing the 5K, then try to land by Wednesday night or Thursday morning. And lastly, when it comes to the process of training, have fun. One of the things I really enjoy about doing runDisney is that there are people from all walks of life. You get to see people in costume, and you get to see families enjoy this together. I've done this race with family, and it was actually one of the reasons that got me into running. So it got to a point when I'm pretty much a regular runner. I mean, I'm not the fastest runner, but I pretty much have that as a regular part of my fitness routine. And go easy on yourself. Don't overdo it if it's your first time running. Yeah, definitely don't overdo it. You want to ease into the training. Just do what you can to take care of you and hopefully stay injury free. So do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself and have fun. So that's it. I hope you liked the video. Feel free to leave your comments and suggestions about runDisney registration or travel info. For some upcoming videos, I plan to go over some packing tips, and weather conditions. And I'm also going to cover my experience at each race weekend in November and February. So keep an eye out for those, and I'll see you next time.